WBAY TV, your first alert station. Action 2 News starts right now with breaking news.
Good evening. We begin with that breaking news from the west side of Green Bay. Police responding to a stabbing at the Islamic Society of Wisconsin.
One man is in the hospital tonight with life-threatening injuries. Police were called to the Islamic Society of Wisconsin on Velp Avenue about 4 o'clock this afternoon. They say a person of interest was being detained by others inside the mosque and is now in custody. A motive remains unclear.
We can confirm that there is no threat to the community, and we believe that this incident is isolated to the individuals here inside the mosque.
We will continue to follow this breaking story, and we'll have you updated on air and online with any new details. We're now hours into this snowstorm, still expected to bring the most snowfall we've seen in 4 years.
Road conditions expected to worsen as the night goes on. Some areas will see whiteout conditions. And team coverage tonight, we have crews out on the roads in Green Bay and Fox Valley. Emily Riley standing by with how the storm is impacting air travel. But first, meteorologist David Ernst has the latest on our first alert weather day. David.
Yes, well, the main impact from this tonight is simply going to be travel becomes rather hazardous if it's not already. Looking live here downtown Oshkosh, you can see some tire treads in the roads there, but for the most part, looks relatively snow covered. A lot of snow covering up the camera lens here in Appleton, just making out a little bit of traffic there on College Avenue. But again, snow covered roads, and here we are in Shawano, more of the same. Even as those plows go over, it's just difficult to clear this fine powdery snow off the road surface, and it will continue to fall and blow and drift through the rest of the night. 26 degrees here in Green Bay, so it is a light, fluffy snow, but it's going to be moved around quite a bit by that strong wind, which is only increasing. We've already seen about 3 to 6 inches of snow so far today, and I would still anticipate another 5 to 10 comes down this evening and overnight tonight. Winds gusting to 40, 45 miles per hour. So as mentioned, that could lead to visibility near zero. So you're talking about whiteout conditions at times. It may not be that way the entire drive you have, but you could encounter that in spots. Snow is widespread across northeastern Wisconsin with just a little bit of sleet and wintry mix, missing our area to the south and even farther south, down south of Madison and Milwaukee, where you're seeing the purple there on our radar. That would be where we have ice coming in. So it falls as a liquid and then freezes onto the road, power lines, trees, and you're talking about numerous power outages and more travel hazards there than we'll see here. Winds 20, 25 miles per hour sustained right now. Visibility generally between half a mile and a mile, and that visibility could drop even lower as the evening progresses with this snow ongoing and the winds only getting stronger. So first alert weather day continues through the night. We should see the snow start to wrap up tomorrow. We'll talk more about what to expect thereafter coming up.
Thanks, David. We are getting a live look at what the roads look like in our area right now.
Jason Zimmerman keeping an eye on the conditions in the Appleton area. Meanwhile, Emily Byer live right now in Brown County with the latest on what the crews are asking for from drivers tonight. Emily.
Now, Bill and Cammie, right now we're traveling eastbound on Main in Green Bay. Roads right now very snow covered. As you can see earlier, around 5 o'clock, we could see that the roads were still snow covered, but we could see gaps where we could see tire tracks in the area. So now they are completely snow covered. Side roads are even worse, so you're going to want to be extra cautious. You can see we're braking right now really far back, coming up to this stoplight right now. And a reminder, we are seeing some drivers, I hate calling people out, but we've seen people driving around with no lights on, as well as cars completely snow covered. You can see right in front of us too, this car is doesn't have the back window completely cleared out. So, and we know right now visibility is the one thing we've noticed that has really dipped around 5 o'clock. I spoke with Keith Gibson, and he was telling me that it was about 3/4 of a mile visibility, and just at last check with the National Weather Service, we are at about a 1/4 mile visibility now. So I also spoke with the Department of Transportation. They tell me if you don't have to go on these roads, to stay home if you can. There are tow bans in place in some areas. Outagamie County issuing one for I-41 and Highway 441. Wapaka County also issuing tow bans for Highway 60, Highway 45, and Highway 54. Another thing you want to be mindful of is moving over if you see officials on the side of the road.
So one of the sad things with winter weather, there could be ice on the roads and you can slide off and lose control and then potentially slide into one of those police officers or other first responders who are out there trying to make it safer for all of us to make it home safely at the end of the day. So we do ask that you slow down and move over if possible.
And again, reminder, that is a law in Wisconsin. It's called the move over law. Drivers have two options. You need to move over. If you can't safely do so, you have to reduce your speed. Now, stay with us on air and online. We're going to continue to keep you updated on the very latest weather conditions. For now, we'll send it back to you guys.
Emily, thank you. Driving conditions also dangerous in the Fox Valley if you're out there. Jason Zimmerman joining us from the street with what we're seeing right now. Jason.
Yeah, Cami, there's cars on the road right now, some traffic here near downtown Appleton. We are just turning onto Richmond from College Avenue west of downtown. But what's interesting is that there's a lot less cars than what you would normally expect to see for an evening commute out here. So certainly some people are staying home tonight, or they simply left early from work knowing that there was a pending snowstorm. I know since around 2 o'clock this afternoon, conditions have gotten gradually worse to be out on the road. Wasn't too bad when I came into work around 2, but now there's a significant amount of snow that has built up on many of the city streets in the Appleton area. And so that is bogging down traffic. It's making it a little bit tougher to slow down. But we're taking it slow. We're just reducing our speed a bit. We're seeing a lot of plows out on the street already. We're seeing a few people shoveling, too, trying to get a jump start on it. But, another thing to keep in mind, if a vehicle passes you, if it's a semi-truck or a plow, you tend to get a quick burst of snow in your direction. And that's probably the biggest threat right now is that visibility factor, because as it is, you can't see too far ahead of you. But when you get that burst of snow, that really cuts into your ability to be able to see on the road, whether it's right here in town where it's a little bit better lit, or out on the highway where there's not as much light out on Interstate 41. So that's probably the biggest obstacle you're going to face, and it's not going to get any better as we continue, as this storm progresses throughout the night. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio. Reporting live in Appleton, Jason Zimmerman, Action 2 News.
Jason, thank you. Now we turn from the road to air travel. All flights out of Green Bay's airport have been canceled today. It's part of dozens of flight delays and cancellations throughout northeast Wisconsin. Emily Riley live now at the Appleton International Airport with what officials there are urging travelers to do. Emily.
Bill, they're asking people to pack their patience as even more flights here are canceled for tomorrow. At Green Bay Austin Straubel International Airport, all of their flights are canceled for today and several are canceled tomorrow. Travelers we spoke with earlier today who are facing delays said they're anxious about driving in the snow if their flight gets canceled. Crews have been busy de-icing planes and performing other snow operations to keep things running as smoothly as possible. The assistant airport director shares advice for those attempting to fly.
My recommendation is to pack an extra change of clothes, your medication, your ID, and your carry-on, and then to pack your patience.
Airport officials are also urging passengers to regularly check the status of their flights, either at the airport or online. Reporting live in Greenville, Emily Riley, Action 2 News.
Emily, thank you. The man suspected in a Green Bay double murder is back in court today.
Still out here on Action 2 News, his case could go to trial after meeting with the judge today. Welcome back to Action 2 News at 6. New at 6, Fond du Lac police announced a major seizure of cash and drugs after a high-speed chase yesterday. This is what nearly $56,000 and 3 pounds of marijuana looked like, taken from the vehicle and 2 homes. Police say they were tracking a burglary suspect and they fled in a vehicle at a high rate of speed. 2 Fond du Lac men were arrested after they came to a stop. Police say criminal charges are pending.
And the man accused of killing 2 women in Green Bay last month is back in court this morning. 48-year-old Richard Sotka waived his right to a preliminary hearing. He's now bound over for trial, charged with the deaths of 58-year-old Rhonda Sigelski and 53-year-old Paula O'Connor. Last month, they were found dead in a duplex on LK Lane in Green Bay's east side. In the criminal complaint, Sotka told authorities he snapped and then confessed to the murders. Sotka will be back in court next month. His $2 million cash bond continues.
WBAY now less than a month away from our 70th anniversary of being on the air.
And still ahead, we're checking in with a former reporter who brought the area everything we needed to know about agriculture back in the 80s. I'm sure you've heard by now, WBAY is celebrating its 70th anniversary next month, and leading up to that, we're catching up with a number of familiar faces.
Enjoying our walk down memory lane, this time all the way back to 1980. Jason Zimmerman sitting down with Mike Austin, who used to cover agriculture for us here at WBAY.
Mike Austin, Channel 2's farm specialist, brings you the only complete agribusiness report in the area. For anyone in northeast Wisconsin who grew up on a farm, Mike Austin is likely a familiar face. Coming to WBAY in 1980 as the station's ag reporter, appearing daily on the noon show.
Hi, nice to be with you. It was kind of almost important, I should say maybe appointment-like television, because that was one of the only outlets for the farmers. You know, they get their information.
You add around 40 cattle plus the machinery and various other buildings you see, and the price tag easily reaches $500,000.
At the time of Austin's arrival, the noon show was an hour long, and it would stay that way until WBAY made an affiliation switch in the 1990s from CBS to ABC. It was Austin's job to supply much of the content.
With the surplus situation, though, dairy farmers realized they had to take a cut.
One of his most memorable stories took place right here at the station.
Right behind us, the auditorium, Toby Roth, who was the congressman for the 8th District, he brought in John Block, the National Secretary of Agriculture, and it was the time in which, you know, land prices were going down, interest rates going up, a lot of pressure on producers financially, we're losing producers, and Congressman Roth brought him here, and basically we had, the station allowed a 90-minute live show in which we had, you know, kind of a Q&A with him. We had open forum with the farmers. We packed the auditorium, the balcony, and even out here in this kind of atrium area, all had farmers. We even had somebody drive up their milk truck on the stairs. So, I mean, that was a big impact story that got a lot of attention.
Austin started out doing radio in Oshkosh before coming to WBAY, and he eventually left to pursue other opportunities in broadcasting, but stayed in the area and never gave up on covering agriculture.
Time, dedication, hard work, money, and yes, even a few tears. Mike Austin, Channel 2 Action News, De Pere.
Although he admits a lot has changed over that 40-year time span.
The technology, the entrepreneurship in agriculture, all that is pretty impressive. And you, as a farm broadcaster, need to be on your toes, need to really have a good network out there. And I was fortunate to have that even back in the 80s and early 90s, in which, you know, guys said, hey, this is happening. And you just see the new milking equipment over here, or the new type of planter and all this, so I could make sure those stories got told.
You ever miss doing it?
I miss the people. You know, I've always told people, I worked for great people, I worked with great people, and, you know, serving the agricultural community was extremely rewarding.
Today, Austin is retired and spends much of his spare time visiting his 7 grandchildren. He also volunteers at a local hospital. It's that act of service that he says is synonymous with everyone at WBAY.
They always respond to what the community needs, and they're all in the community. I mean, just to throw his name out, does anybody do more things out in the community than Bill Jarvis? And I myself, you know, I did, on average, in the peak times, 150 to 200 events a year. And I think just that contact, being out there, being a part, you know, being kind of that conduit for them was huge, and still is.
Jason Zimmerman, Action 2 News.
Great story and true words. Well, we are not expecting much relief from this snowstorm falling across the area until later in the day tomorrow. David Ernst has details from the First Alert Weather Center. David.
Yes, Cammie, we'll be in the thick of it for at least the next 12 to 18 hours or so. We have slippery or snow-covered roads being reported across all of central and eastern Wisconsin, and those problems continue and likely get worse as we head through the rest of the night. So snowfall fairly widespread across the area right now, and those snow showers extend all the way back into the Dakotas. We have ice and a wintry mix missing us well to the south. Same goes for severe weather, but this snow will be ongoing for a good part of the night and through the first half of the day on Thursday. Winds, they're beginning to kick up now, 20, 30 miles per hour sustained, and likely hold in that range, maybe even closer to 35 sustained for a brief time. And that will lead to reduced visibility, half a mile, 3/4 of a mile, fairly common across the Fox cities because of blowing snow. And when you get those strong winds gusting to 40 or 45 miles per hour like they will be tonight, snow drifts will also be problematic, especially in more rural areas. Temperatures holding steady with this heavy snow ongoing, so travel hazardous now, will remain so for the rest of the night and through the Thursday morning commute. And here we go with First Alert Pinpoint Predictor showing really what I just told you. Northeast winds sustained around 30 miles per hour, gusts to 40 or 45. That's at 7 o'clock. This continues right on through 10. And overnight we see perhaps a few lighter areas of snow, maybe not steady snow like we're seeing right now, but it will continue in some fashion across northeastern Wisconsin right through tomorrow morning. And here we go for that morning commute with another band of heavier snow right on through the Fox cities and towards the lakeshore. Winds not quite as strong tomorrow morning as they are right now, but still 15 miles per hour sustained, gust to 25. So it's going to be a slippery, slow-going, snow-covered morning commute on Thursday. By the lunch hour, things start to taper off, and we could just see some additional light snow showers for the rest of the afternoon, but not much in the way of steady, widespread snowfall. Between now and then, though, as things are ending, we're looking at an additional 5 to 10 inches or so of snowfall from now through tomorrow, with the lower end of that coming south of the Fox Cities, but from Green Bay northward, still 8 to 10 inches left to fall in this, so likely it does go down as the biggest snowstorm we've had since the blizzard of April 2018. Visibility, at times, less than a quarter of a mile with the wind and that falling snow. Some improvement possible late tonight as that snow rate perhaps lets up around midnight, but again, with a batch of steadier snow coming in for the morning commute tomorrow, you see those visibility numbers dropping once again to half a mile, 3/4 of a mile, so there will still be problems for that morning drive on Thursday. Temperatures tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, mid-teens north with lower and middle 20s through the Fox Valley. Those temperatures across northern areas may rise a couple degrees, but we likely see falling readings around the Fox Cities with temperatures colder at 3 o'clock in the afternoon than where we'll be at 7 in the morning. Winds should be dropping through the day, sustained speeds close to 20 miles per hour early, but by the late afternoon, we're right around 10 miles per hour. Wind chills, though, will be in the teens all day, so dangerous travel conditions keep the first alert weather day going through the night and into tomorrow. Your severe weather outlook will stay in the high category. Could still see some lingering problems on Friday morning, Friday night, and into Saturday morning. Another round of light snow is possible. That could bring a dusting to an inch or two across the area, so quick look at that system. By Friday morning, skies actually turning mostly sunny for a time. Any problems would just be left over from the snow that we're receiving. No new snow coming in Friday morning. Friday afternoon, snow showers off to our southwest. We're dry through the day, but by late evening and overnight hours, a quick batch of light snow tracking on through the area should be gone by 8, 9, 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. Still could bring a dusting to 1-2 inches across the region. The rest of the weekend is looking quiet. Right now, 26 at the airport in Green Bay with a strong northeast wind. We'll see heavy snow at times tonight. Blowing and drifting snow will be problematic. An additional 5 to 10 inches of snow could fall before everything wraps up by tomorrow afternoon. We'll see the snow and the wind gradually tapering off through the day tomorrow, and then looking at cool down for Friday, but temperatures right back to around 30 for a high late this weekend. We'll have sports after this.
First Alert Weather with meteorologist David Ernst. Sponsored by Tundraland, home to bath remodeling and custom decks. Go now to tundraland.com. Here's Chris Roth from Action 2 Sports, sponsored by the Orthopedic and Sports Institute of the Fox Valley, home for robotic surgery for hips and knees.
How you doing, everybody? Throughout program history, the Phoenix women's basketball team has been best described by one word: dominance. 20 straight conference crowns tells that tale. However, they've gone 4 seasons now without a crown. However, with 20 wins in their last 21 games, the Phoenix can clinch a share of the title with a win over Cleveland State tomorrow night at home. And they've done it without a single Horizon League Player of the Week or Freshman of the Week award all season.
Isn't that great? I think it's absolutely great. Now, if they can keep us all off the all-conference team and that'd be even better yet. You know, I mean, that's, yeah, we haven't had a freshman or a player, and that really is not important. It really isn't. The most important thing is for us, every game we come out is play as good as we possibly can and kind of lay our cards on the table and see what happens.
All right, the state individual wrestling tournament gets underway tomorrow in Madison. This is the second year for the girls' championships, but first at the Kohl Center. De Pere sophomore Brooke Corrigan claimed the first girls' state title ever, and she is the top seed in her weight class this year. Eric Boynton will have more on her story coming up tonight at 10 o'clock, and the Badgers take on Iowa tonight as well.
All right, Chris, thank you much.
What can we expect weather-wise?
Well, snow continues, so a good night to sit inside, watch some basketball, or do anything else indoors, because you don't want to be out on the roads. It's going to get hazardous, or even more so than it is right now with the snow and wind continuing.
We'll see you back here at 10.
Till then, good night.